Is it looking blurry for you here? Or is it okay? I'm just trying to move the pencil a bit, just trying to see if it blurs up. Seems fine now for me. It seems like people can't comment. Okay, I guess it was just a delay. Okay, we'll just try this now, and hopefully this will work okay. If this works fine, then I'll be doing this instead of the YouTube and then just upload to YouTube after. I see that it's not 100% for me, but it's still better than YouTube. Okay, so I don't know if there's problems with if you're here, can you just say hello, just to make sure that the chat is working okay? And that you're here, so I know that you're here. The only thing is I think that there's a slightly longer delay here on Facebook compared to YouTube. So it might take me a bit longer to see your questions, but that should be fine. Hello Chantal. So it seems like the chat should be working. Again, so sorry for all the issues. So today we're going to focus on the eyes and the lips. I do find the lips very challenging, so we'll see how we get on with that. For the eyes, I will use different colors than the one I picked out for the color chart. But here you can just use whatever color you prefer. Just gonna check here. Okay, looks okay. yeah, if you see that it starts lagging or anything like that, just let me know, and I will have to try and find a different solution for next time. I really don't know why this is such an issue. Okay. Oh, hello Yaki. Thank you so much. Really hope this will work now. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to do similar eyes to the ones that I've done on my previous one, so they are a bit like greenish eyes. So the first thing I'll just, because there's marked already here where to put the white, so I'll just add that here first. Then I'll just add a bit of yellow here at the bottom. Doesn't really matter which yellow, I just took the first one I found. To me now this is super laggy and I can't see anything. Please let me know if it's the same for you. I see fine on my camera, but looking on the screen I don't really see it. But it doesn't really matter if you can see it though. After I added yellow at the bottom here, I'll add a bit of light green. So the bottom part is just yellow at the moment, and then I add light green here on the side. And then I take quite a dark green at the top. And I just try to sort of blend it in. Then I'm just using a bit of blue, just on top of the green, just to sort of make a bit of more dimension. And then I'll take a brown one and just add a little bit of, I'll just do it in lines, a little bit of brown coming out here. Because often when you have green eyes, they are brownish closest to the pupil. Then I'm going to take a really dark blue. This is indigo blue. I just need to sharpen it a little bit. And kind of go around the outer part of the iris. So I really hope that this is working. I haven't had any comments. If you could maybe let me know if you can see okay, that would be great. Would be a bit boring if I'm just sat here talking to myself. Then I'm just taking the black and going over the pupil. Okay, so Katrina can see the coloring. Okay, so that's good. I'm just gonna go over with the light green again and just blend it a bit more. But basically I want the top here, the top of the iris, to be much darker than the bottom. Okay. Normally if there was if the eyes were bigger, I would add more structure to the iris. But these are so small that it's very hard to do that. So now I just, I use a few different colors and I mix them so that I have the lightest at the bottom and then the darkest at the top, and I might even later also make it even darker. Okay. Then I will go for the burnt sienna 10% and just add that here to the wet line. So I want that to be like slightly pinkish, not completely white. And I'll add a bit of that also in here. And then I will use grey. And I think I'll take this one. This is French grey. Because the eyeballs are round, I need to add shadows here. So I'll make them darker. They will be darker under the eyelashes, and they will be darker here in the corner. I'll go over, I think, because I don't find it dark enough. So I'll go over with Payne's Grey. Then I think I'll just take the white and sort of blend it in a bit better. I really hope this is actually working, because like when I have done it on YouTube, I've had lots of comments or people saying stuff, but it's completely quiet. So I hope that it's not that I'm not getting the comments or anything like that. Maybe you're just paying attention. Okay, so it is working, and hopefully when I upload it later, that the fussiness will not be such a big part. So I think what's important to remember is that the white of the eye is never entirely white, and the same goes for teeth. There will be different sorts of shades of grey and such. I think I'll take my pink, just add a bit more in here. I think I want to make her a little bit darker around the eyes before I add the eyelashes. So I'll try to make her, I think, a little bit darker around her eyes, and I'm going to just start with this, which is a bit of a red color. This is Crimson Aubergine. Okay, I think I'll try to sort of blend that in a little bit better. So I'm using my burnt sienna. And I do need, I think, a bit more shadow underneath. It's just a good idea to add all the shadows before you put on the eyelashes, because if you figure out after that, oh shit, it needs to go darker, it's a bit hard to do it like in between the eyelashes without kind of smudging them. So the difference with this one, I think, compared to the one that I've already done, is that I haven't spent as much time blending. So here now it still looks quite rough, and I can, you know, it looks grainy, and I can see the paper kind of shining through. But I'm not gonna, on camera, I think, spend that too much time on that, because that's something that, you know, it takes a lot of time. It's a bit boring, I guess, to watch. But basically what I do, and I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit here around the eyes now. So now I just take Burnt Ochre 10%, which is one of my lighter shades, and I just go over the dark areas and everything. And when I just smooth this over, it will look nice and smooth, and it won't look grainy anymore. So that's normally how I blend. I take lighter shade and I just go over those areas. this is normally a step that I do once I'm well at a point where I'm at least close to happy with the shades and the colors, because I don't want to kind of burnish it before, because I won't be able to add many layers on top of the areas that I have smoothed or burnished. But also when I go over and smooth it, it will become a bit lighter than it was. And so I might have to go over with darker colors if it gets too light. And here I can still sort of see the black lines here, so I'm going to go over them with a bit of white here to try and hide them a bit better. And the same here really. Okay, I still think that the eyes are not dark enough, so I'm actually gonna just use the black one. I just normally make it a bit darker, just on this point here. I'm going to use my burnt sienna again. But now when I go over, it might look a little bit rough again, but it will be okay. But I see now that the eyelids now are a bit lighter than I want them. I want them to be lighter here at the top, but then a bit darker at the edges. I'm just gonna smooth it out a little bit. Also because if I haven't gone over with the same pencil, so it's the burnt ochre I'm using to going over, if I have only done it in one place and not the other, the colors will look different. Okay, I think I should just start adding the eyelashes. I mean, if you want to go darker, you can always do that. And please just ask any questions you might have. So I'm using my black now, using it a bit here on the crease, but also here, and this line here I make quite thick. Okay, and then adding the eyelashes. So this is something that I don't think I have perfected it yet in any way, but it's important to sort of think that you want to draw the eyelashes in the same direction as they would naturally go. So don't do straight line, but kind of try and think that, okay, it goes down first and then it goes up. And for this, it's quite good to use a harder pencil. So the Polychromos pencil would be good. And then on this side of the eye, the eyelashes will flow in a sort of different direction. And then I want to add the bottom eyelashes. And here I do the same thing. So here I was taking like sort of going down before I went up, and here I will go up before I go down in a way. And it's sort of like at the middle where I will change the direction. But then you shouldn't add as many eyelashes at the bottom as you have on the top. And sometimes I forget myself, which is a bit stupid because I can't really, it will be hard for me to go back and erase those. And there will be normally more of them towards the end. Just going over with a little bit of dark just in the, okay. And then we will do the same on the other side. First I just add this, I have to turn the paper a bit, strong black line. And when I do the eyelashes, I press quite hard on the pencil as well. Then now I'm just gonna make this line a little bit darker before. Oh, hi Isabel. Yeah, I had some issues with YouTube, so that's why I'm doing it here. It's not working perfectly, but it's hopefully working better. If you have any questions, Isabel, to anything that I've done, please just ask. Yeah, so what I've done, Isabel, is that I have just colored the eye. I will upload this. This will be on my Facebook afterwards, so you can watch it on there, and I will also attempt to upload it to Facebook. So I've colored the iris, and I've added shadow on the eyeball, so making it darker towards the edges. And now I'm just adding the eyelashes. And as I said, it's sort of important to try to curve them in the right direction. So the eyelashes from the middle of the eye and out, you curve it like in that direction and then the opposite on the other side, if that makes sense. So now that I have the eyes in, I think that the wet line, it shouldn't be as light, and especially here, so I'm now going over with burnt sienna 50%, at least here on the edge, as that will be darker. I might even use a bit of grey there, I think, because I still think it looks too light. And then I'm actually going to use the black one again and add even more shadow. Just here. And I'll do the same on this side. Sometimes I just find it a bit easier to just use the black pencil, just because I get a much pointier tip on this Polychroma, so it's easier to do details. And then I just press lighter on the pencil to sort of obtain grey. Okay, so I think that will be the eyes done for now, at least. I can see on my screen that here the white of the eyes looks still quite white, but it is actually grey, but it's still kind of like the lightest part of the face, so it shines a bit more, I guess. And then on to the lips, which I have to say is one of the most difficult things. So, okay. I'm just gonna take this black pencil first and just make sure I have defined, even though I have gone over it with white, which I probably didn't need to. Because this particular part of the lips will be dark anyway. Yeah, so this part is quite hard, but we will I hardly ever get the lips right on the first try, and I just have to keep going. So I'm just adding a bit of white here on top of the lip because I am going to make them a little bit bigger. And not that you have to, but as I've mentioned before, often when I do things, I use myself as a reference, because it's just easier getting a reference picture or just look in the mirror. So I tend to make bigger lips so that they're more similar to mine, because then it's easier for me to do them. Yeah. So I'm just going to use this, because on the lips I did on my previous one, I did actually just use the pencils that I used for the skin. So I will attempt to do that now as well. So I'm using this pink, and here it doesn't really matter that much what pink you use. Oh, of course, it matters depending on the colors you want to go for, but the thing is I will do so many layers, so it won't look exactly like the color you see right now anyway. I'm just doing the pink a bit above the black line underneath. And I really hope I will be able to replicate this somewhat. But we might have to work on the lips a little bit. And then I just have to look on my reference for a little bit. Yeah. And here as well, I'm going to make them slightly bigger, just a little bit. So now I'm just adding a pink line sort of at the bottom here, and this is kind of just like a guide for me now, because I want the part underneath here to be a little bit lighter, and then I want her to be light here as well, but you'll see that when we get there. Basically, I just color most places, but I leave the bottom part here and I leave the middle part here open. And I'm gonna actually add some white there. And the thing is, so when I was doing my previous one, I was working a lot on the lips until I was happy. So of course, the more layers I do, the more I will hide the black lines, because now you can still see the black lines quite clearly. Then I'm just adding a bit of white here. And also here on the edge. Let's see. Then I am going to use this Crimson Aubergine, so it's quite a dark red, purplish, but I need to sharpen it a bit. And I have been using my Swordfish that I showed you, my Swordfish eraser, but I think it's actually getting quite blunt already, and it's quite new. So I don't think I will recommend that sharpener actually. So now I'm just using this one, which is actually a cheap Faber-Castell pencil sharpener, but I've had this for quite a long time and it still works fine. You know, I can't, the points don't get as long, but they're still quite pointy and nice, so that works. And then I'm just adding this darkest color closest to this black line here, where the what should I call it, the closed mouth lip line, because that will be the darker point. And I'm doing the same here for the bottom one. And I will probably go over with black again later. And now I'm just using quite a gentle touch, because now I'm kind of trying to get this white line, no, the black line here, to sort of I would say merge. I don't want it to show, but I'm not drawing entirely on top of it, because that will just make it darker. So just right underneath. So I kind of have to I don't know how to explain, manipulate it a bit to try and get the look that I'm going for. Actually, I'm going to do the same, but here I'm going to do it at the bottom. I'm doing it underneath. But especially when I work on the mouth, I tend to have a very light grip because I know that this is something I struggle with. So if I make mistake, I want to have just added a light layer, because then I can fix it either by going over with another pencil, or I can easily erase it. But I have to say, I very rarely really go for the eraser. I just add more on top. Okay, and then I'm going here as well. So the white here is not going to be completely white, but it will be lighter. So I kind of want to merge here towards the end. I want to merge this underline and this top line here. Just going back here to the top again. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit of white here, and then also here at the top, because basically what I want to do with this top lip, because unless you're wearing lipstick, there's not like a clear end to the lip. It kind of just like blends in with the skin. So that's what I'm gonna try to achieve. You're very, very quiet today. Is there not anything, any questions to my methods at all? Does this all make 100% sense? So now I'm going to use my burnt sienna 50%, but I'm going to sharpen that one a bit first as well. Again, I'm just trying to sort of blend this, and I'm going for a sort of natural lip color. Oh, hello, Mitas, or however you pronounce your name. Yeah, we had some issues on YouTube, so that's why I'm doing it here instead. The video will be on my Facebook page afterwards, so you can watch it whenever, and I will also attempt to upload it to YouTube. Thank you, Isabel. Hello, Mai. It's fun, I actually have some Norwegians here. I just have the impression that the colouring community in Norway is not that big. I mean, we do have one decent size colouring group on Facebook, but that's for the whole country, basically. And I don't really know anyone else that colours, so it's nice. Oh, okay, it's great that you could that you figured it out on YouTube. I hope that would be the same if other people went there as well. Because I just wanted to sort of get it going, so I didn't fib around trying to sort it or direct other people. But I thought if I just left the video there, then hopefully people would work it out. Okay. So regarding the neck, the thing is, so I'm just gonna take this here. So this is the one that I've already done, and I haven't really actually done much to the neck here, the way I normally do it. And the reason for that is that I find necks incredibly hard to do. And as I was working on a tutorial, so I practiced the face, but I didn't bother too much with the neck because it's difficult enough. So I think on this one I have just, made her lighter and in the middle and then darker, not really focusing too much on the neck. I don't know if I will though, because I don't want to do something that I'm not feeling comfortable with doing, because I don't want to kind of teach you something that is not right. So on this one, I think that I will not do the neck. You can have a look at the one that I've done, and you can, see if that makes sense. But when I do a video later, I will add the neck as well. But for this one, I think I'll just focus on the face and the hair. But feel free to look at some of my other ones for how I color the neck. So this color that I have been using now is, I'm actually going to, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, so what I did on my previous one, and I didn't realize, because you see that she has these kind of smile lines here, but I obviously don't want the black to kind of show through. So I'm actually going to extend the lips a bit. That's what I did on my previous one as well. Because what I did find was that I thought that the mouth looked a little bit small. And again, this is, of course, some people have smaller mouths, but for me, to get things looking right, I kind of need to have myself as a reference, as I have mentioned many times. So I will make the lips slightly wider. And also it makes it a bit easier to sort of hide these black lines here. But what I was going to say was that this color here, this Burnt Sienna 50%, is it's a bit brownish in a way, and I kind of want her to get a bit more red on her lips. So I'll go back with this aubergine, and this one is quite dark, so I'm using it, but I'm going to probably go over with other pencils to kind of blend and soften it down in a way. But this is sort of just to kind of get the more red color. Yes. So as I've mentioned probably 100 times now, I do find lips incredibly hard. So it is a little bit of back and forth until I get it looking the way I want. So I'm going to use the burnt ochre 10% to try and extend them a little bit here, but very softly. And because I now struggle a bit to see like the middle here, I'm going to go over with black again. Just starting here in the middle. I'm just dragging the shadow down a little bit on the lower lip. And then I'm using the pink again. I still want the lips maybe a little bit bigger still. And I'm going to use the burnt sienna again, just because I want to see sort of where the lips are. So I'm masking this black line underneath better and better. As you can see, you don't see it as much as before. It does take some time. It's also a lot of fun coloring Jennifer's line art, and that is actually many reasons. First of all, of course, as you can see, it's really, really, really nicely done. And then, second, she is such a nice person and so supportive and so helpful and so good at telling me nice things, which really helps. So I'm so happy for her support. You do. You absolutely need to get her books. This last one, this Bella Futura, is so nice. Like normally when I get coloring books, there might be just a few images that I want to do, but in this book I really want to do all of them. Oh, thank you, Jennifer and Denise. That's very sweet. So I'm using the pink one again now. Just because when you do lips, it's nice to have a combination of color. Don't just stick to one or two. The more the merrier. And I'm using white again here because on the lower lip, on the sides here, you kind of, it really should just blend in with the skin, and then here at the bottom you can see more clearly the definition of the lip. You will see a difference, but here on the side it sort of just blends in. Oh, thank you, Mai. And yes, I have to agree on your comment with Secrets of Colouring. After I got that book, there's so many things, and there's so many things in it that I still haven't tried, just because I haven't had the time. But I did try to do, there's a tutorial for a gold egg, and I did that. And although, well, I think I got it to look, quite okay, but anyway, so I've used those because there's like, it's a tutorial, but it also tells you exactly the pencils to use. So I've used that when colouring gold scents, and before that I always struggled with gold, but now it's not an issue. So I've learned that from that book, but it has so many great things, so I highly recommend it. Going back with, let's do the crimson again, Crimson Aubergine. This white line here, I don't want it to be as white as it is probably. We'll have to try and tone it down a bit. yes, this is a pencil you need. My favorite pencil, the white Luminance. You can just use it for everything, basically. Just going over with the white now. Sort of a bit randomly, because I don't want the lips to kind of be even all over. And also I used it to kind of lighten it up a bit. And then I am going to make her a little bit darker under here. And here I'm using French grey. And again, I normally make my girls darker under the lip. And that is because with my lips there is quite a bit of shadow. But of course this depends on the look you're going for and the reference you're using. So Denise, your comment if the face is complete. I think that I'm actually quite happy. The thing is, there aren't really any places that are really white. I think that because of the light that I'm using, it looks maybe a bit lighter than it is. But it is actually quite similar to this one now. And you can see that it's not white here, but it's lighter. So the highlights are in the right place here. But these places that are lighter, they're not white. They are, well, they're primrose. I have gone over with, I think, well, I can't remember exactly what I've done there. I can see here that I haven't really gone over with much, but I haven't, I have used white, but I had used a light pressure, so it's kind of like it's white with the tan of the paper shining through. But I think I am happy enough with the lights and where they are. So the only thing that I probably would do, but I'm not going to do it on camera, is just use a lighter pencil to kind of blend out a little bit more. I see on camera you don't really see it, but it's a little bit grainy on some of the darkest places at least. So I think the only where that I will actually do more, I might do a little bit more on the nose, and this area over the lips or around the lips is not completely finished. So I'm using my aubergine again. And one other thing is that the top lip is normally will look darker than the lower lip. Normally you have like the white reflection and stuff will be on the lower lip. Yeah, so I tend to spend quite a bit of time just going over the lips again and again. I often find it quite hard getting to the point where I'm happy. Using pink again. Just adding a bit white. But I think now, before I continue, I actually want to kind of add the structure above the lip to look the way I want it, because then it will be easier to see if I'm happy with my lips. Okay, then I just need to see if I have my pencils here. So I will use my, no, not my burnt sienna, my burnt sienna 50%. Philtrum? What's that? And I'm just going to ask, because I can't look it up right now. Oh, hello Joyce, so nice to see you. Oh, the indentation above the top lip. Right. But I think when I watched a makeup video, they called it like the something bone, cubics bone, something, cubicle bone, no, something like that. So now I'm actually going to have to move it a little bit for it to look straight. Oh, thank you so much, May. That would be awesome. That would be so awesome. Because yeah, now I think I pay like 150 Norwegian crown, which is like £15, $20, just for shipping the pencils. And then they also don't send it to anywhere close to me. They don't deliver it to my mailbox, so I have to go and get it from a stupid location, which is far, far away and so hard for me to get there because we don't have a car. So yeah, that would be so helpful, mate. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just using the white now to sort like these things coming here, down here. I'm just using a bit of white here on top as well because I don't want it to be as prominent. But I see that I haven't really added much shading at all, so I'm gonna use now the Burnt Ochre 10%. And before I continue, I'm actually going to use my black pencil just in the nostrils again. And some more shadow underneath. I can't help myself. I'm using this pencil. I'm supposed to do this area here, and then I just tend to, I see something needs fixing and I just jump to that area, and that's normally how things are done when I colour. Oh, thank you very much, Joyce. I'm very happy to hear that. You always say the nicest things. And Jennifer is absolutely amazing. So this shadow underneath the nose I always find a little bit tricky. But I find that when I add it, it kind of, you get the nose to kind of pop out a bit, to look more three-dimensional. Yes, I know, Jennifer, but I'm so happy you did it, and the result is the best colouring book that I have in my collection, so I'm very happy with that. Oh, by the way, what I'm doing now, I can just see that the area on the nose is a little bit rough, so I'm just taking my Burnt Ochre 10% to just smooth it out a little bit. And I think this pencil, this Burnt Ochre 10%, is probably the one I use the most for blending on the face. I'm actually going to make her a little bit more darker under her nose, and I think I'll take Burnt Ochre 50%. Yes, I can show how I fill in the eyebrows. I can do that after I've finished this part here. I use markers for that though. I use markers first, and then I color on top. And I would use the same markers as I would use for the hair. Yeah, I think when it comes to using the black pencil, so when I watch like YouTube videos by some artists who use colored pencils, they say that they never really use the black one and that you shouldn't really use the black one. You should use either a dark blue or something like that. But I find that I still use it. I mean, it looks fine. Maybe it would look more realistic if I used a darker blue. But yeah, I will have to experiment a bit more with that. But I think still, you know, you can use it. Yeah, so I'm very happy with my burnt ochre 10%. I use that one quite a lot. But I think that for skin tones, actually the pencils I use the most are the siennas, burnt siennas. Okay, maybe we can just do the one thing that I would do, but I don't know if I have a... I would use a little bit of white Posca or gel pen or something on the lip here and also here on the top of the top lip. But I don't think I had anyone close in hand. I might go and get one afterwards. Okay, we can do the eyebrows. And I'm trying to think roughly what color I used last time. So I'm just gonna, I'm just taking the first one I find. That's how I normally work. So this is a cream color. And I just covered the whole area. So normally when I do the hair, and I don't know how long I've been on now, because it doesn't tell me on Facebook. Because I wonder if we should start the hair, if it's time for that, or do you, if you want me to do that next time, just let me know. The problem with my browns, I think, is that I have absolutely no idea how much I have left. I'm just gonna try maybe and do a line some way. It's probably fine. So then I use, this is sepia actually, it's called. And I'm gonna just use it. Just a little bit at the start and then more towards the end. And that is because eyebrows are normally lightest at the start. And then they go darker. Because you just have less hair here at the start. But I mean, you can also just cover it completely with one marker because you will go over it anyway with pencils. Okay, and then, so this is just my way of doing it, but, and I can't say that I think that I make the best eyebrows, but this is just the way that I do it. And then I just go over with my white pencil on all the lines, on all the black lines. So really the reason why I use the marker first is that when you use the marker it's a little bit easier covering the black lines, and also you have sort of saturated the paper. Okay. some notifications here. I was just wondering, because when I did my previous one I just used my Luminance pencils, but it's actually better to use the polychromos when you're going for hair, so I think maybe I'll just do that, and I can just use them when I do the hair as well. So I think I'll just go for this. I'll take this one first. So this is the Caput Mortem. So it's a bit of it's kind of close to the sienna color, I think. Maybe a little bit darker. It's a bit reddish. And then I just sort of just make strokes in the direction that I think the eyebrow hairs are going. I do the same on the other side. And then I take a slightly darker pencil, which is the Caput Mortem Violet. And I basically just do the same thing. Now I can still see quite a bit of the dark here, so I'm just gonna use my white pencil a bit more, and especially here. Just try to cover the black line as much as I can. And then I think I'm going to use Burnt Ochre 50% on top here. So I don't really want it to be entirely white. Then I want an even darker color. I think I'll use the Sepia from Luminance. I'll add a bit of that also towards the start of the eyebrow, but not as tightly, not as many, so you can still see some of the light shining through here. And on this side I will kind of draw the strokes in this direction, because towards the end of your eyebrow you will have some hair flowing a little bit up and some going down, but on this part they go mainly up. think I'll just go back to the Caput Mortem pencil and just add a bit more, so don't want the white to be here. Yeah, so I think that's how I would do the eyebrows. And for the lip, before I can do, I'm actually going to just run and get a white Posca. I'm back, sorry for not being more prepared. So I just add some white then to top of the top lip, but I will have to go over this and take some of it off. Because I want it to be a very thin line, which is a bit hard to achieve with the Posca. So I kind of like just scrape it off, I guess, with my pencil. So I need to have a sharp point for that. And if you let it set a bit more, you can actually color on top of it if you don't color too hard. By the way, now I'm using my burnt sienna 10%. I think so. I think by adding the white here at the top, because often on lips it will be quite, you will have a bit of like white highlights at the very top of the lip. And now I keep touching my lip to show you, but anyway. So yeah, it kind of, you see better kind of like where the lips stop. But they won't be much darker in color here unless you have lipstick on. think though, before I'm happy with the lips, that I will still make them a little bit darker here. Hello, Cynthia. Actually going to use burnt sienna because I want there to be a bit more. I want to drag the shadow out here a bit from under. Just gonna use my white here on this line because I had forgotten. Then I'll just use a bit of sepia here, just sort of turn it into a little smile. And then I'm just using my burnt ochre 10% to try and hide these things here a bit more. Joyce, on this one, I wasn't actually planning to do the neck, and the reason for that is that if you look on the one I've already done, I didn't really do anything particular when I colored the neck. I just made it, you know, darker right under her chin and then a little bit on the side. So the reason I'm not gonna do the neck is because here I haven't really done it in a particular way. I've just added shadow on the side and underneath. Because normally what I do when I colour necks is that I use a picture of myself as a reference. And I find necks so difficult to do, so I don't really want to kind of do a tutorial on the neck until I feel that I have mastered it, if you understand. But I will post this picture, so if you just want to do a simple neck like this, then you can just use that. Yeah. Yeah, so the pencils I've been using for this is the Luminance pencils, but on my Facebook page I have posted a conversion chart, so you can see the similar colours in both for Polychromos and Prismacolors, because I have those pencils as well. Yeah, and I think it's because you don't really see that much of her neck, and she's in sort of a, so obviously this is also her skin, but as you can see on my other arm, I have actually made it into a sweater, and the reason for that was because it would take me a lot of research finding out how to correctly colour this. So basically what I would do is to take a picture of myself in the same position, same angle, same pose, and then see how it looked like. And that is probably something that I could do for one of my own colorings where I'm not trying to show anyone, but it would be so much back and forth and I don't really know what I'm doing. So it doesn't make sense for me to try and show you my failures, and I don't know if you would learn that much because I would go back and forth until I had it right. But once I get a bit better, I'm very happy to show you. But feel free to use any of the pictures that I have already posted where I have done necks with doing the amount of research needed to do them. But for this one I didn't do that. So I think you should be able to get quite similar results with using at least Prisma. I'm a bit unsure with the Polychromos because I haven't used them for colouring skin for such a long time. So I wouldn't really know because they layer in a different way because they're harder pencils. So I wouldn't be entirely sure how to do it. But at least with Prisma should be fine. The reason why I'm using the Luminance is mainly because they are better quality pencils, and so that the lead doesn't break, and they have a great selection of skin colours, and also here in Norway it's much easier to get hold of Luminance than Prismas. So, just in general, if I am to colour something, I will always go to my Luminance set. But it doesn't have as many shades as you will find in Prisma. So sometimes I can't find the exact shade I was thinking of, or actually that's not very often because normally I don't think about, I just take a pencil and then colour. But I'm trying to think a little bit like, because the Luminance pencils are so expensive and I do have a full set of Prisma and Polychromos, when I remember and when I have them available I try to use those pencils instead. But I'm very happy really with all the colours in the Luminance set. I think that the green and blues, I do think that they are actually my favourite of all the sets. I think it doesn't have that many purples and not as many pinks either. So for that I would probably go to one of my other sets. When it comes to this colouring now, I think that I'm actually happy. I think the lips looks okay. I think the eyes are fine. I think comparing it to my other one, I have spent more time on that, on blending the colours. I'm just gonna have a look here. Yeah, it is quite similar now. It's just that I've spent much more time blending them. So I think I will say that this is it for the for how to color the skin. Of course you can go darker on some places. I think I have a bit more shadow on the nose on my other one. I will take a picture of this afterwards so you can see it. Just as it is, because it looks a little bit lighter on camera because of the light that I have shining on it. Yeah, I think this is okay for the skin. And then I was thinking of doing a tutorial on how to do the hair as well. But I'm guessing it's quite late now, so it probably makes sense to do that another day. I have already uploaded 2 videos because I did a live stream, but it for whatever reason accidentally got deleted. So but I had saved the copy, so that I have 2 videos now on YouTube. One where I do brown hair, but on the brown hair I have already started, so I just show you part of the process, and then I do blue hair where I start from scratch. But I was thinking for this one to just do the whole hair. Or maybe I do half a side or something, because it does take some time when it's this much hair. But I'm happy to show you how to do that on a different live stream. Also, I'm just wondering how you felt this was, seeing it on Facebook, if that is okay. I really don't know how I can sort this this internet issue, but I'll have a bit of a more in-depth look into that and see if I can figure something out. But hopefully we'll see how, when I upload this to Facebook and to YouTube, if it will have better quality than what you've probably seen watching it. I was actually thinking of doing the same hair color as I've done here, because now I've done the eyebrows in this color too, because this is kind of like a natural looking brown hair color. For the auburn hair that I think you are talking about, Joyce, I did do a sort of an interview sort of thing for one of the Facebook groups, Friends Who Color, where there is step-by-step pictures on how I did the hair on that. Yeah, I can also, maybe I can just upload those step-by-step pictures that I did for the coloring group on my Facebook page as well. With the exact colors and everything that I used. But I think it's nice to do this here hair, because this sort of looks like a very natural color. Okay, so I think that maybe I will do the last part, doing the hair on Tuesday. Yeah, I think so. And it will be the same time. I'll attempt to do a little bit of research into my connection issues. Or not connection issues, just lagging. But yeah, let's say Tuesday 9 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock Eastern time, is it? Yeah, and we'll upload it and we'll see how it looks afterwards. But thanks you guys so much for joining, and I will see you again soon. Good night.